I never imagined that the night meant to celebrate my life would be the same night I walked away from everyone in it. And the strangest part? That same night would lead me to a place I had only dreamed about, my very own $10 million penthouse. But this night, it wasn't simple. The birthday party, my party, felt like the most uncomfortable gathering in the world. Music blasting, laughter everywhere, and me, standing in the middle, completely invisible, like I was nothing but decoration, a prop, a punchline. I spotted my best friend, Zoe, leaning close to my boyfriend, Ryan, whispering something that made him laugh. The dim lights caught their expressions, half smiles, that closeness. It hit me like a slap. It was my night. But somehow, the control felt like it wasn't mine. Ryan hadn't touched me all evening. And Zoe? Acting like nothing happened. I just stood there watching them. And suddenly, I asked myself, why am I here? For whom? The room felt smaller, the air heavier. I could hear nothing but my own heartbeat. One thought, one impulse. Leave. Just walk out. Now. Without a word, without checking my phone, without grabbing my purse, I stepped out, sliding past everyone as if I was air. No one stopped me. No one asked why. The cold night air hit my face as I opened the door, like the universe itself was whispering. Finally, you're choosing yourself. I had no idea then that this one impulsive decision would turn my life upside down and take me to a penthouse terrace where I would look down on the entire city as its owner. One choice, one step, and a stranger who would change everything. Stepping onto the street, heels in hand, I walked into the chilly midnight air. Birthday girl fleeing her own party. My phone buzzed, Ryan calling, Zoe texting, happy faces inside the club, and me broken outside. I ignored them all. A taxi pulled over, headlights cutting through the dark. The driver, a calm man with a thick mustache, gave me a once-over. Where to, miss? I paused. I didn't know where I belonged. Home. The party? Ryan? Zoe? None of them felt like mine. Just drive, I said. He glanced at me through the rearview mirror. Tough night. I didn't answer. But he added softly, sometimes the night we run from is the night that finds us. I laughed quietly. Maybe it was just a cliché. Just random talk. 20 minutes later he stopped. You should get out here. Where? I asked, confused. Someone inside is waiting for the right person. I frowned. Before I could protest, a towering black building loomed ahead. Glass and steel, infinite floors, like a secret palace. Inside, a young elevator attendant greeted me. Miss Elena? I think you have the wrong person, I stammered. He smiled. He said you'd say that. Please, top floor. Before I knew it, the elevator doors closed behind me. My pulse raced. I had no idea then that the night had only just begun. The elevator glided upward. Floor by floor, numbers lighting the panel. 42, 43, 44. Each beep echoing in the silence. The doors opened and I froze. A glass walkway stretched out before me. Below, the city sparkled. Above, stars glittered. And beyond that, the penthouse. Walls of glass, golden lights spilling into the night. I stepped inside, heart hammering. Everything screamed wealth. Elegance beyond imagination. And then I saw him. Tall, sharp, commanding, holding a glass of whiskey, staring at the city. His presence filled the room. He didn't turn immediately. Calmly he said, I've been waiting for you. I froze. I think you've mistaken me, I murmured. No mistake, he said, finally turning. Deep eyes. A controlled smile. You walked out of your birthday party tonight, correct? My pulse quickened. How did you know? Let's just say, I know when things are meant to happen. I was confused. Why am I here? He took a step closer. Because sometimes the universe opens a door that doesn't open twice. Tonight you walked into mine. I wanted to step back, but he stopped me with a gesture. I'm Adrian Cole, he said. The name sent a shiver down my spine. Billionaire. Real estate king. Dangerous, eccentric, untouchable. This, he gestured around the penthouse, is yours. I laughed nervously. Me? Why me? Because the woman who walks away from what breaks her becomes strong enough to claim what she deserves. I had no idea that a single walk away could become the start of a life I'd never imagined. I walked through the penthouse stunned. Floor-to-ceiling windows, marble floors, art pieces I couldn't even name. Each detail whispered opulence. Adrian followed, silent, letting me take it all in. "Why are you giving this to me?" I asked finally, my voice trembling. He smiled, not condescendingly, but knowingly. Because sometimes, life gives second chances. Some of us just have to be brave enough to take them. I wasn't sure if it was generosity or a challenge. My heart pounded, a mixture of fear and anticipation. You didn't even know me. And yet, he said, I know what you're capable of." I laughed softly, disbelief written all over my face. My life had always been controlled by others, by expectations, relationships, loyalty to people who didn't see me. And tonight, I had chosen me. "I can't just take this," I said, shaking my head. "You've already earned it," he said simply, "by leaving behind what didn't serve you." I let the silence settle between us. Outside, the city lights stretched endlessly. For the first time in my life, it felt like the world was mine. No expectations, no obligations, no strings attached. Adrian's voice cut through my thoughts. "I've watched you tonight. The courage it took to walk out. That courage belongs to someone who deserves more." And then, I realized it. It wasn't about the penthouse, the money, or even him. It was about me. Finally, I was allowed to be the protagonist of my own story. A sudden buzz of my phone made me jump. Zoe's messages, Ryan's frantic calls. I didn't answer. For the first time, I didn't care about anyone else. I walked to the balcony, looked down at the city below, and whispered to myself, This is just the beginning." Days passed, but the memory of that night haunted me and inspired me. The penthouse became my sanctuary, a place where I could think without judgment, create without permission, and dream without limits. I explored every corner of my new home. Each room held possibilities. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed the skyline like a painting. My reflection in the glass wasn't the girl who fled her party. It was someone stronger, someone unstoppable. Then Adrian appeared again unexpectedly. Not imposing this time, just calm, observing. "You're different," he said. I smiled. I had to be. I walked out of my own life to get here. He nodded, silently approving. Then came the unexpected twist. A legal notice from Ryan's company, claiming entitlement over some shared investments. I froze. My past tried to claw back. But instead of panic, I felt clarity. I had power now. I had control. The penthouse wasn't just luxury, it was independence. And I wasn't going to let anyone take that from me. I called my lawyer, and with Adrian's subtle guidance, I navigated through the mess. By the end of the week, it was settled, legally and finally. I was untouchable. Free. Standing on my terrace at night, city lights reflecting in my eyes, I realized. Life's lessons are often disguised as heartbreak. And sometimes, you have to walk away from everything you know to find everything you deserve. A week later, I hosted my first dinner in the penthouse. Not for friends, not for family, just for me. A quiet celebration of survival, of reclaiming my life. And then Adrian showed up. Not expected, not invited. Yet somehow, he belonged here. "You've made it yours," he said, voice calm, eyes scanning the skyline. Most people would have been paralyzed by fear, by betrayal, by everything they left behind. But you. I smiled, hesitant. I didn't think I could do it either. He chuckled softly. "It's easier when the world gives you a second chance. The hard part is choosing to take it." The truth hit me like lightning. This penthouse, this city view, the freedom, it wasn't just wealth. It was validation. Proof that courage and self-respect could outweigh every betrayal, every slight, every disappointment. Then came a twist I hadn't anticipated. A reporter from a major magazine somehow got wind of my story. Overnight, I was the girl who walked out of her birthday party and ended up owning a $10 million penthouse. Everyone had opinions. Friends, strangers, former acquaintances, they all had something to say. But none of it mattered. Because for the first time, I didn't need anyone's validation. I only needed my own. And Adrian? He didn't disappear. He stayed. Not as a savior, not as a guide, but as someone who believed I could own my destiny without being saved. That night, I realized something. The world could be cruel, unexpected, even heartbreaking, but it could also be generous to those brave enough to walk away from what doesn't serve them. Months passed, and the penthouse became more than a home. It became a symbol, a monument to the girl who refused to settle, who refused to accept a life that diminished her. I started investing in businesses, supporting women in my city who were quietly stuck in their own versions of my old life. I offered mentorship, guidance, and sometimes just a listening ear. And one evening on the balcony, I looked down at the city lights again. I thought about that night, the night I left the party. Funny, how one impulsive choice had rewritten everything. Ryan tried to reach me again. Zoe too. But I ignored them. They belonged to a past that had no place in my future. Adrian appeared beside me, leaning casually on the railing. "You've changed," he said. "I had to," I replied. "I walked away from everything that was holding me back. And in doing so, you've inspired others without even trying." I realized then that true wealth isn't just money or property. It's freedom, power, respect, and most importantly, self-love. Standing in my $10 million penthouse, looking at the city stretched beneath me, I whispered to myself, "This is what happens when you choose yourself." Life had tried to define me, to cage me, to control me. But walking out, that small act of rebellion, it became my doorway to everything I deserved. Adrian's presence was quiet now, just a reminder that some people enter your life to show you what's possible. Not to change you, not to fix you, just to reflect your strength back to you. I smiled. For the first time, I felt fully in control, not just of my space, not just of my wealth, but of my own story. The lesson was clear. Sometimes you have to walk away from what's familiar, from what's comfortable, from what's expected, to step into a life that's truly yours. And as I sipped my wine, watching the city lights flicker like distant stars, I knew this was only the beginning. Not of wealth, not of fame, not of luxury, but of me. Choosing myself changed everything.